Leadership 101 by Anna Still
and Jenna Reynolds.
The class pre-technologized.
Leadership 101 is a class at UAB that I took last spring in the Global and Community Leadership Honors Program. It challenges students to look at their own lives and stories as leaders by viewing past leaders. And we did that by reading the book Leading Minds by Howard Gardner. And then we wrote reflections about each leader. Each leader was a chapter in the book, and we wrote our own stories with references to those leaders and how Gardner categorizes them.
Some of the characters that are in his book are Eleanor Roosevelt, Martin Luther King Jr., George Marshall, Margaret Mead, Robert Oppenheimer, Pope John XXIII, Alfred Sloan Jr., Gandhi, Jean Monnet, and National World War II leaders.
This is a part of a comment by somebody on Amazon Books, and his name is Thomas Amadio, but he basically describes the book as 6 different topics. That's how Gardner lays out the book. And one is the leader's story and their central message and why they led in the way that they did. 2 is their audience. 3 is organization of their leadership styles and how it was portrayed. 4 is the embodiment, and that basically, like, the leader has to not only say who they are and why they believe those things, but act in the same way. 5 is direct or indirect leadership. Direct leaders lead an audience actively, and indirect are more like the scientists who do things that affect people on a secondary term. And 6 is their expertise. Gardner stresses that each leader must be an expert in their field before they can be influential.
The class post-technologized. What is Leadership 101 with the incorporation of technology? We changed it to where we would still be using Leading Minds as the base. Copy of the book.
And then each student would choose a leader from the book, a chapter. And there's Eleanor Roosevelt, Gandhi, or Margaret Mead. And then they would create a blog taking the identity of the chosen leader. And these are just images from Blogger, like we use for the class in EDM. And you can even use it on your own Gmail account if the student has one, but just make a new blog like I did with Martin Luther King Jr. And some blog suggestions would be just like the 6 aspects from the book, like what is the leader's story. And this could be weekly reflections on different areas of the leader's life or throughout their life, different ages, or who their audience is, and how the audience acts upon the message that the leader's trying to portray. What is their organization, the embodiment of their cause, if they're a direct or indirect leader and why you believe that, and what their expertise is. And you could also apply these things, or have the student apply them if they were a leader today. How would they look different? Like what their expertise would be. Would it have more to do with being globalized, since that's so much easier today? Or if their story would change at all, their audience, different ideas like that. And then
we would also have them create a Twitter taking the identity of the chosen leader. And this is just some screenshots of Twitter where you would go to make it. And then this is a Martin Luther King Jr. Twitter account.
And I think a thing to stress with students is that you might not actually want to put the name of the leader. Like, this is a Twitter already about Martin Luther King, but there might be copyright or different laws regulating that you can't pretend like you're a different person. So Hannah made this as, her name would be Hannah as MLK Jr., for example.
And some suggestions about Twitter would be to stay as true to the character as you possibly can. Also, to post your tweets as if you were the leader yourself. You should post about things that your leader would have been doing or places where they would have been going. And also, it's important to research your leader so that you can be as knowledgeable as you can about your Twitter account.
And about the blogs and tweets, it could be up to the teacher, but you could do weekly blog posts, and Twitter have make sure the students do 3 to 5 tweets a week or a tweet every day. It could just depend on how the class is going and the involvement of the students. And the students could use current leaders as examples for their blog and their Twitter, because most leaders today do have those things and do have websites and everything. And these are just some influential people that could be suggestions, like Bill Gates, Ronald Reagan, Oprah, Stephen Hawking. That says Osama bin Laden. That might be a little bit questionable, but that would be another example, I guess. Just whatever they can find.
And the final project would be called A Day in the Life of, and whatever your leader is. And as the final project, the student will have to make a video as the leader that they have chosen. They'll get into costume and try to use historical content. The introduction should be why they chose their leader, and the main message should be the leader's story.
And to tie it back to how the class was when I took it at UAB, the student would have to include as a conclusion how their story is similar to the story of the leader they chose, and how they can use that in their own life and for their future. And then the student will have to upload their video to YouTube and put it on their blog, just so everyone can view it. The end.